I don't believe plenty of things that mean nothing to me. But if there's one thing I know to be, oh, I know what you mean to me. I know what you mean to me. You've got a story I wanna read. You've got a meaning that matters to me. I know there's many more to be seen, but I know.
Hello everyone, how are you all doing? So I'm back outside for this video. I know some of you are more interested in the ones where I'm out shooting in the field versus the ones where I'm sitting in my camper talking about something like filters or taking a knife to my filter. If you haven't seen that one, go watch the last video that I just posted. Sorry, not just posted, but go watch the last video I posted last week. So for this week's video, what I originally wanted to do was show you what it's like to photograph in temperatures like -20, the really, really cold ones, because we just had a recent cold snap and it froze everything. So there was a good week where the photography was amazing, and of course I did not get out. Well, I did get out for shooting, but I didn't film any of it. I shot a lot photography wise, but every time I would go out and shoot, I was always like, oh, I'll just come back tomorrow and film the video the next day. Anyways, if you do something like that and you don't get on top of it, then obviously that opportunity passes, because it has since warmed up quite a bit and pretty much all the ice is melted, and whatever is left is not exactly flattering to photograph. So a little bit of change in plans this evening. I am going to photograph a self-portrait. It's warm enough, so it's probably only maybe -5 right now, maybe a little bit warmer than -5, but it's warm enough to go out in the lake. I have protective boots and I want to use the lantern again, because I was just getting into that. I have a video where I talk about using props, the lantern, in landscape photography, and for this shoot I want to carry on and continue doing that. I'm going to go in the lake with the lantern this time. At least that is the idea. Ollie isn't distracting you guys too much. I know he's behind me just being a dog, doing whatever dogs do. Anyways, the lantern is still in my vehicle. I don't even know if the batteries with the lights that I put in it still work, because I did leave it outside for a little bit too long in the cold temps, so I definitely have to check that out, but that's my plan. I have a vision of how I want to do this, obviously a long exposure, but I'm not so sure if I'm going to be able to execute it. I'm thinking of using my 70-200 for this self-portrait. I think I can get pretty far out in the lake before it starts to go into my gum boots, because obviously if you're using the 70-200, you definitely need to have a lot more separation. But if that doesn't work out, and I don't do it with the 70-200, then I'll just use my 16-35 and most likely shoot at the 35 end and not the 16 end. So this location that I'm going to do it at, I am just waiting for the sun to go down so it's a bit darker so the lantern light shows up, so I have a lot of time just kind of hang out. But this location is where I have photographed probably the majority of my winter icy landscape images. I know that I am a little bit more well known for those images, the icy landscapes and my wildflower work, but if you are ever curious as to where I do it all, it's at this place right here. It's called Reedman's Point. It's near Salmon Arm, and it's one of my favorite local spots to shoot at. Well, while I'm waiting for the sun to go down, I'm just going to hang around with Ollie. I'm going to go and get everything kind of set up and organized, and I'm going to do maybe a few practice shots with the 70-200. I obviously have to change. I left everything in my vehicle, my dresses, the lantern, all that stuff is in there, so I'll have to run up there and change, but I definitely have a lot of time, so I'm just going to hang out, get some practice shots, set up with my 70-200, and see what I can do with it.
To me. Yes, I know, what you mean to me. You keep me steady, ship on the sea. You anchor me down and you float next to me. Honey, I'm ready, I know what I need, and I know what you mean to me.
So I am all set up. I have about another hour to wait until probably the light that I want. I want after sunset. I want those nice blues with no color in the sky again, so the lantern pops. I have my 70-200 set up. I've already done sort of some test shots. I have the whole composition sorted out. There's a little bit, there's a few things about this shot that I'm not so happy with that I know I'm going to have to fix in post-production, as in the mountains have a little bit too much snow on them for me, so there's going to be a lot of distracting white patches in the background. So I'll probably do a little bit of cleanup with that, and then there's some rocks in the foreground that are going to have to go as well. But other than that, this shot should work with my 70-200. I'm going to use my Canon camera remote app. It is a lifesaver when doing self-portraits, especially with something like the 70-200, because you do have to be pretty far back from it. I will be in my setup. I am set up at 70 mil, so I will be shooting it at its widest. Ollie, what are you doing? Ollie is below the camera smelling around the tripod, and I'm not so sure why. I'm assuming that there's probably animal pee somewhere. It's so nice being able to have him out now and not have to worry about him freezing to death because it's warmer. And I think he's really enjoying it too. It's keeping him really stimulated. I'm going to be using the white dress for this shot. I'm actually feeling like I need to get a new selection of dresses. I want to get more with sleeves because I have a lot of tattoos. Some of the dresses that I do really like, they're sleeveless, and I just find my tattoos are really distracting in some of my self-portraits. So I definitely want to start looking for more dresses that have sleeves so I can avoid that problem. And I think ones with more bigger, fuller skirts, because what I did to all my dresses was I cut a slit up the middle of them so I could have more fabric to play around with. But I'm thinking I'm just gonna buy some that are already nice and full skirts so that I can avoid doing that, because I like to face the camera. And the problem when you cut your dress or your pants or something, whatever, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing, but the problem is when you alter what you're wearing, if I'm in the water in the wintertime, I have to wear pants underneath and boots. And if I'm facing the camera, then you'll see that big massive slit in the middle. And for this shot, I definitely plan on facing the camera. My idea is that I'm going to be not really backlit, but this, because there won't be any sun because I'm waiting until the blue hour to do this, but the sun, if it was there, is going to be behind me, and my plan is that I'm facing the camera and I'm going to hold the lantern up like this and hopefully have some of the light from the lantern give me that fill for the front of me, so therefore I don't have to mess around with all the shadows. So fingers crossed this shot works out. So the light is now starting to change quickly, thank goodness, because I'm getting a little bored just waiting around here. I guess I could have been shooting this whole time because I'm missing actually a really good sunset. That's all right. I really, really, really want this shot to work out. So I've changed the dress that I have on. I need someone else to help me do it up in the back, so I can't exactly do it up in the back. And that's another reason why I'm going to face the camera, is because I can't have this backless open dress. But I do have kind of like this little robe that I can put on that is open in the front, and then it covers the back of the dress, and then it actually just makes the dress look like it has more material, more stuff to it. And then I drape it on the sides of my arms here, and it helps also conceal the tattoos. So I'm also going to be using that. I just haven't put it on yet. I do have the dress on, you can see. Got it on, got my leggings on, my boots on, and I'm just still waiting. I came up way too early for sunset. It's so nice now that we're getting closer to March. That means the days are longer. However, I haven't really adjusted for the time, so I end up coming out like 2 hours before anything actually happens. When you're filming like this for YouTube, you definitely need to have the extra time, but today I went a little bit overkill. Anyways, I'm gonna hop in the water now. Here is the final image from this evening's shoot. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this image. There's lots of things I do like about it and lots of things I don't like about it. I definitely like the idea. I like the light. I like the dress. I like that. But what I don't like is the background. I do not like the mountains. I don't like how on the left it is so heavy. And I've shot here so many times, so I honestly should have been more aware of this, but I think that it kind of throws the whole thing off of balance. And well, this is actually user mistake, or I guess photographer mistake. I am not in focus, so I was using the app to hopefully focus on myself with the 70 to 200, and the focus ended up going on, in all of the images that I shot, it ended up going on the water behind me. So I am out of focus, and I was a little bit too much in shadow, so it's also a little bit noisy, and the lantern was obviously not showing up as much as I wanted it to. I think it would have been a little bit better if I had a more powerful light in it, or if I was zoomed in more and just focused on me and the lantern, which actually might be coming later because I want to redo this shoot. But I really like the idea. I like the concept. I like the time that it was shot at. I love the pose, and I love the dress in this one. I think that the dress looks really, really good with the colors of this scene. So I definitely will be redoing a shot like this, or just, I guess, carrying on with the lantern and the self-portraits in the lake. And I didn't use any filters for this shot, so I didn't do, like, I consider like a full long exposure. I just did whatever the exposure time was. I was shooting at anywhere from f16 to f22, so I just kept it filterless and let the water smooth out naturally on its own. I wish that I actually did end up using my 10 stop, because I find that there's too many streaks in the lake and I find them a little bit distracting. I would have liked to have the water smoothed out just a little bit more. I also, when I was editing this image, I thought that it looked a lot better, a little bit more dreamy, and having the background being a little bit more hazy. I just found that it helped cut back on the distractions that were on the mountain, and I did get rid of some of the snow on the mountain, just the spots that I thought stood out a little bit too much, but I pretty much left all the snow. So I do think in about a week or two, or maybe a couple weeks, the snow on that mountain will start to disappear and melt, and then it's going to look a little bit different when I go back to photograph it. Anyways, don't forget, I'm running the Wacom tablet contest. All you have to do to enter that is just subscribe. The winner will be announced at the end of February or the beginning of March, somewhere around there. And I also want to share some images with you guys that I've been creating over the last 2 weeks, as always, but they're going to be it's going to be quite the mixture of images, because I had a day where I got to shoot some firefighters, some fire women, and that was really, really amazing. So I want to share those images with you, and I also want to share some landscape ones that I did do when it was really, really cold. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!
What you mean to me, what you mean